Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
All right. Check one, check two. This is it. Welcome to the Cannabis Coffee Hour with your host, me, Rob Cantrell, coming to you live, full and direct, much in effect. We're doing it again, episode 135. I'm happy to be alive and here for you to do a podcast. That's what we're doing today. I got some herb, meaning weed. I got some weed, I got some herb, and I got some coffee. I got a ridiculous, I don't even know if you can call this a coffee cup. This is a jug. It's like a cartoon coffee cup, but it's a big map of Brooklyn, and that's where I'm coming to you live and direct for the Cannabis Coffee Hour. This is your host, Rob Cantrell. I'll say it again because I'm programming my brain into being in the moment at this moment to give you a live diatribe of this moment. But no, I have a big jug of super coffee with tons of ice. I've been doing this. I've been making my French press and then getting this super jug of coffee, packing it. I got a good ice maker, packing it full of ice and just pouring it over. You know, I make cold brew, but sometimes the night before, I've been doing all kinds of shit, man. I'm sorry for taking a week off. I really felt bad. But life just caught up, and I try not to miss weeks. I try to stay, you know me, I try to stay regimented with this shit. And I love this podcast, and I love that you listen. I see all the numbers. I see you guys giving me shouts out. And as soon as, the COVID stuff, and I figure out how to get this thing up and out in the road, I'm investing in more mics and getting guests and just trying to figure out the vibe and the feel a little bit more because, I want to make this weekly and doing it all the time. But that's the thing is sustainability. You got to sustain it. And a lot of these podcasts I listen to, there's a real Morton Downey Jr. vibe going on out there. I don't know if you guys know Morton Downey Jr., but it's like super negative. He was this dude that had this talk show that was like super negative, but it was like, tell it like it is. And it got huge, and then it just fucking faded away. And and I never wanted to approach this podcast to make it the biggest podcast. I wanted to make it a natural thing, from the stillness, like the seed popping out of the soil, the cannabis seed in the soil. And the thing about nature, what was that song? Nature loves its little surprises. Out of nowhere, it becomes something else. And I love making something out of nothing, and that's the natural life, because everything is nothing. And maybe I'm going a little bit, I have been hitting a little bit of herb there. I know I go through that theme of everything's nothing, but it helps me to understand that I'm a part of everything. And being connected, as much as you want to say you're an island on your own and meditate, and I'm this solely solo thing, but we are all connected, and you gotta connect. And that's what I think why people are digging podcasts and shit like that. And the internet's moving fast, and people love connecting. I love connecting with people, but I also love being creative. So this podcast does a little bit of both. But let's get right to what I got a nice chillum. I got my classic one hitter. I do love my one hitter because I do love herb, but I don't want to huff it all the time, every time. So I got a good glass one hitter from Verde Naturals. I will say this is one of my favorite pieces I've ever had because it's wood and it's glass. And I've been better with cleaning it. I got these great like old school pipe cleaners that you like for tobacco pipes, but they're like fuzzy and they bend. They're called Zen cleaners. Give them a shout. Keep some of those around. They'll keep your pipes clean. But this is from Verde Natural, and Verde Natural is from Colorado, and it's Very Natural. And they work hard to leave a minimal footprint. Please enjoy this cannabis. My friend gave this to me. Shout out to Zamir Nassim. He's a comedian. He runs a great show at one of my favorite venues, Peak Candy Store. One of my favorite bars. I don't even drink, but if I go in there, I might have a drink. I'm thinking I might break out my IPA in a while. I haven't had an IPA in a while, and I always enjoyed that taste of it. But I do think Pete's Candy Store is a great venue, and they have a comedy show that just started back up that Zamir runs. And they used to do it, but then they moved, and then COVID happened, and now they're coming back there. And I always thought they needed to be back there. It just had a good vibe. It was like my little, out of all the comedy clubs, like comedy clubs, if you don't know, if you're not a comedian, like they're not that fun to hang out. Like if you're doing a show and you run into some cats that you've done shows with before, it's kind of cool, or, you know. But hang-wise, there's just a lot of going on, and it's a lot of acts going on, and sometimes the barroom shows or independent shows, the hangs are a little bit more looser and not as like stuffy, I would say. And that's what this vibe was over at Pete's Candy Store. So shout out to them, and shout out to this cannabis. Yeah, man, I've been driving. I had to do a bunch of family stuff. So I had a couple like super long drives, and then I had to do a bunch of writing. And so I had to just lock myself in a room. And you know, with me and writing, I just know it's in there and I got to get it out. And I was this same way in high school, same way in college, like distraction. Like I literally have to like lock myself in a room and be away from people for like 3 days. And that's how I do it. But it does get done. And it's usually the last day. Yeah. But I am just excited about getting this. I've been talking about this music project forever that I've been working on, and mixing and mastering and dealing with sounds and sound waves. You know, this podcast is, you know, I'm recording this myself. I'm not doing a video portion. I'm just beat all to hell. And, you know, this next few weeks, I just want to just work on the sound waves and get the sound really good, and then take it one step at a time, and then try to work on the video, because we all have all this technology, and right now it's more like how you use it. So that's why I'm just trying to be more mindful on how I'm using it. But let me fire up some of this Verde Natural. Then I got this big jug of, and this coffee's like, it's like almost that French roast. It is that dark, like sheeny bean. So it is like, I don't really like dark coffee, but the like super dark, you know, like they say dark roast. My roast is a medium roast, but I will take it because I like coffee. And sometimes I like a light roast. Sometimes I change it up. Let's see. But we're in the middle of the hot summer, and I don't rock air conditioning. Wow. So sometimes, so I guess I have been huffing some herb, and it does just slow you down. But I needed to slow down. I needed to lower the frequency for a couple days, you know, and then you bring it back up, and then it comes back naturally and stronger, and instead of pushing it. Man, this is great Colorado herb. My man gave it to me, but he had it laying around because I fired through this one bag. I had that great bag of weed on that last episode that I did. But that's the thing about herb. It always runs out. But I do think growing it is going to be the way to go slowly in the future. Like, you can invest all into the dispensaries and everything like that, and they're going to always be there, and great brands. And like, I don't know what's going on. But at the same time, I do think, you know, if they legalize on a national level, you know, why not just keep a plant in the back? I mean, that's saving you $60 every 3 weeks, you know, and then bammo, then you just gotta handle your coffee. And I And then, man, I got my fuel and I've been meditating. I will say I've been great just because I had so much shit going on. I've been forcing myself. In terms of discipline wise, meditation is like at a 10. Like even if I'm high or even if I'm fucked up or even if I'm in a weird place like tired, it's just like I've been moving a lot, guys. I've been driving a ton. I've been doing shows. We're coming out of COVID, and then I've been writing. So I'm using like a lot of different things and doing this podcast and doing music. But I have to say, this is the life I dreamed. Like, this is what I wanted to do, and I enjoy doing it. You know, I enjoy doing this podcast. I look forward. Instead of a things to do list, you have a things I get to do list. Because I remember whack jobs and stuff like that. Like, I love doing this stuff. So, but sometimes I do where it does wear on my mind, like every week. I'm like, oh, I got to get a podcast going. I got to get this, I got to flip the switch on this. And I'm slowly am. Yesterday, the last few days, I've been going deep on listening to, I'll tell you this morning, like, I haven't cried in a long time, but sometimes I do. You know what it is music. I mean, movies on planes, that will do it for me. Like Moneyball. There's a couple movies that I'll just start. That's the trippy thing, is how you get emotional when you fly. There's something there, man. The beauty of humanity. I don't know. But I was listening to. I got turned on. YouTube is dangerous, but it's also funky fresh. I've been fiending for live music, and my algorithm demon led me to Billy Strings, which is some young cat that kills it on the guitar. And it's like, and then I looked him up, and they're like from a bunch of different bands, but it's the drummer of the Grateful Dead, Bill Kreutzmann, or I know I'm fucking up his last name. Like, but I know he's a cool cat. Yeah. Kreutzmann. It's Kreu, Kreutzmann. Billy and the Kids, Billy Strings. Check this. And then they do this song. It's on the Relics YouTube. And they do this song called So Many Roads. And it's a Grateful Dead song that I don't think they ever played in the studio. Now, don't give me, I'm not Captain Grateful Dead, and a lot of Grateful Dead dudes are like comic book dudes, they call you out on your cred. All I can say is I saw Jerry Garcia play at RFK. I saw the Grateful Dead with my friend Bud in what was that shit, man? That must have been 92, 93. He passed away in 95. I think I saw like one of his last tours. And that was the first time I ever, I've been to concerts before, and they were always dope, but the Dead parking lot scene, the Dead parking lot scene and the Fish parking lot scene, but the Dead specifically, I mean, the Fish was like the younger, they're like Vermont and all that. The Dead was more national, and they really were from the 60s, There's something super authentic about it. And super authentic about just being at the RFK parking lot. And it was a day like this, just a hot-ass summer day. During these hot-ass summer days, nobody wants to work. You really just want to sit next to a box fan or in the air conditioning and try to do little or, work from the computer and then get to some water or some shade. How dope is shade, man? Like a shady tree during one of these hot days. Like when I find good shade in the park, I love that. Because it's like it's like nature's own cooling system. And if you find a shady place under the tree, it could be super, super, super pleasant. As we move on. But yeah, I've been, so many roads, and I started crying. Because it's so many roads that, what is it? So many roads to soothe my soul. He's talking about being really lonely and being in a really dark place. And he's talking about a jug band. And it feels very Virginia to me. It feels like kind of my home. And And I've done the road. I mean, I can honestly say I've done a lot of tours with comedy. I toured with Tracy Morgan. I toured with theaters with Mitch Hedberg. I toured with Jay Moore. I toured with Bert Kreischer. I toured with the Marijuana Logs. I toured doing shows myself, driving all over the place. And there is something about the movement. And I got into stand-up comedy right after I backpacked for a long time. Like when I was traveling in Southeast Asia, I went to Southeast Asia right after college, after my first job, after 3 years. I think I talk about this, but that idea of just letting go and traveling, I mean, it wears on your soul, though. A lot of travel there's something really natural about it. Like you feel like a bald eagle, man. You're just like flying out. You're taking off. You're leaving the world behind. But it does wear on your soul. It seems. But then there's like this, I don't know. It's just like, it's almost romantic. But then that kind of romantic stuff is like, yo, I just want to fucking go home and sleep in my own bed and get a pizza slice at my own pizza place. But then there's a part of me that I do love. Just I can't wait to get back out there and do some shows. And that's why I'm meditating so much and doing so many stretches and doing my 5 Tibetan stretches. Because traveling just beats your body up, man. I've just seen it, man. I've seen dudes will go down later on in life if they don't take care of themselves. And I do think cannabis does definitely help you out, especially all the weird, awkward stuff and sores, and not sores, but just the fucking, what do they say? It's like the wear and tear. And I think, cannabis is like a solvent, it's like something that soothes that wear and tear. But it can tear you up if you're not doing it properly, with cannabis, especially when it's hot right now. Drink a lot of water. I've been drinking a ton of water. Water and coffee is pretty much, and seltzer, I mix it up with seltzer. But yeah, so many roads. And it takes a minute for the song to kick in. It's like super slow and you're like, oh, what's this fucking creepy ass slow hippie music? But man, it's a beautiful, when it catches, it's a beautiful, beautiful, emotional, soul-touching song. So many roads. Shout out to Billy Strings. You fucking killed it, young buck. He's probably like 36. Drinking this big jug of coffee. Yeah, man. I've been working on this thing, but I wanted to talk about that Grateful Dead song. I love that. And then what was it? Land of Illusion. That's another song that's been getting under my skin. Joe Walsh from the Eagles. That's a good tune. And then there's another tune. I've been getting into a little bit more country. David Allan Coe, The Ride. That might be one of the better country songs ever. Now, David Allan Coe was a part of the outlaw country singers, and he has some rough songs. Like some of the, he was like a biker dude almost. And so there's like N-word. And, this is like when you're talking backcountry. And I hate using the word white trash and I use the word redneck liberally just because I'm from there. And I grew up, my dad is from one of the more poor towns in Virginia. And, I went to middle school and high school with some really tough Southern kids. Not tough, but, it's just a vibe. But a cool part of the vibe, it's very musical, very natural, and very tough, and sometimes closed-minded, as these places are. I got the same vibe when I went to Jamaica as I did Virginia. It's just mountain folk. Mountain folk are isolated people and rough people, and it's a hard life, but it's beautiful, and there's something cool about it. And it's just salt of the earth type shit, man. And I catch that when I'm around. I drove through Virginia, but man, Northern Virginia, man, I had to drive through that shit. Northern Virginia's is almost, the traffic has gotten worse than LA. I was stuck, man. I was stuck in that shit, and I tried to dodge it, and I knew about it. Like, and I still caught it like at 2, and I still got stuck in some weird funk for too many hours. I was on the highway, and I'm just pounding iced coffee, and I'm over 40, so I literally have to piss every 20 minutes. So there was a lot of I did a lot of just renegade pull on the side of the road, and I'm sorry if you see my my schlong out here peeing, but I try to duck down. I try never, if I'm peeing outside, I try to be as hidden as possible, but you have to be safe as possible too. You don't want to fall in a ditch just because you had to pee and get run over by a semi when you're peeing on the side of the highway. But that traffic down there, it's just so funny. We were talking about there. I love driving and the road and movement, but there's so many people out there, and I do think we got to go towards electric, man. I lived in LA. I saw that fog, man. That fog is crazy, and if you live in LA, you know it. If you've never been there, but there's literally just this pollution haze that hangs over the city. And it's kind of a bummer because it's ideally in a really sunny, dope spot. So, that it should be a place, I'm sure back in the day when they found Hollywood, or when it was just this small thing growing, the people that got their shit together, it must have been, and I'm talking like 1920s or 1850, where there's some city civilization, in cars and shit like that, but it's still like small towny. The crazy place, I always thought, but I know friends, shout out to Tony Kameen, he lives in Burbank. And when I lived in LA, I lived downtown LA, but I would go to Burbank. I had a manager over in Burbank, and I would you drive over this like mountain hill, and then Burbank's like this little suburban town, but it's California, so it's just like, when California's got that good weather, it's like, shit, motherfucker, this is good. This is good weather. This is East Coast right now is just like that hot. And that hot just sweats out all the toxins in you. It just makes you, I think it's a little healthier in some ways. Some ways not. I'm chewing coffee ice right here. But yeah, I guess I love driving in the road, but when it's traffic, there's nothing. I mean, meditation has helped me deal with traffic, and I did get to a point, but I was going through some like 3-hour standstill type shit, type of shit you get in like LA where you're like, what? My day is just done. And it was like, I had like a whole day of driving done, and then you're just stuck, and you're like, oh my God, I'm not going to get out of this till 8 p.m. But then you eventually do. You do learn to calm down. And that's what meditation has just been helping me, is just been learning to, just calm down. It's seeing when my mind starts spinning out. As much as I love that spin out, and that spin out is part of my creative process, it's good to reel it back in. And just get to the point of what you're fucking doing. And what we're doing here is drinking some coffee and smoking some herb out and talking about some Grateful Dead, I'm trying to think like, I love driving when there's no traffic. I mean, driving a motorcycle, and I've done this. Driving a motorcycle when there's no traffic on a straight road and you're just shifting the gears when there's nobody on the road, I've done that. That is one of the more freeing feelings I've ever experienced. But surfing, I did go out to Fire Island. I went out to Long Island and hung out at the beach with the fam and did some boogie boarding. But the waves were there, but they were blown out. So there were these huge waves, and then they would just crash right at the front. But I did swim out, and I had a boogie board, like a legit boogie board with like the string that ties to your wrist and all that. And I went out there, and because I surfed for a long time, but since the East Coast and a lot of stand up, I don't surf as much. But there was a good 2 years, and then I did a month in Bali where I just surfed every day. So that's where I got a lot of my legs with the shit. So I mean, in terms of, I'm not a good surfer, but I can paddle out. I can sit on my board. I can eye the waves. I can even paddle in. I can even catch a wave if it's nice and set up. But these weren't like that. And I was just on a boogie board. And boogie board's just a adult kickboard. They are pretty dope. For 40-something, like, I think I maybe start getting into more boogie boarding these days. Because it was fun to get out there. But I did get smashed because I was just going right up to the lip. And then I was just like, fuck it. And I would just ride the wave, but it would be all whitewash. So I was just shooting on top of it. But one time I just got wrecked. And it was right in front of my family, man. I got old school, just picked up and slammed in 3 foot of water on a boogie board. But I knew how to, because I used to, when I lived in San Francisco, I surfed Ocean Beach, which is NorCal. That was when I saw a seal's face pop up. Like, that shit was crazy, man. I'll never forget that, seeing that seal's face pop up. And I was high, and it was like foggy and cold. And I used to live, shout out to San Francisco, I used to live out in the outer Sunset, which is like right next to Ocean Beach, which is a cool beach, but it fogs out hardcore. So it's never like, ooh, surf, titties, let's party at the beach. It fogs out, and it's super windy, and it's kind of mountainy, but it does create this really cool sand. And the beaches are really like, I don't know, they're mellow in some ways. Like, it's just like perfect beach. And then the waves are, when it's huge, it's just gigantic. I mean, it's an hour away from Mavericks. So it's like a little mini Mavericks when it's just gunning out there. Like, there is like reports of like 20-foot waves and shit. I don't know. I might be talking out of my ass. But I definitely know they go over 7 foot. Because I definitely charged a couple of those things back in the day and got wiped out. So I just learned how to wipe out really good. And learning to wipe out is just letting go. That's the thing, is letting go. So I got wiped out on this boogie board in front of my family out in Fire Island. The thing picked me up and slammed me on the fucking thing. But I didn't think I was hurt. Like, I just handled it. But then I just had water in my ear, and I hadn't have had this. It might be because I'm growing older, or I think they got a little tear in my eardrum, and water got in there, and I had to like dry it out. I didn't take a shower for like 3 days. Just because I do have a big hunk of cauliflower in this right ear from wrestling when I was a kid. And so I think it gets back in there. Like, I have to get it professionally drained out. Like, even last night, it's been like a week and a half, and there was a little bit of crick, and I was like, there's no pain. It's just like I just get moisture in there, and I think it's sweaty. I need a haircut. So it was just a perfect start, and so I had to dry myself out. But I will say, just like, boogie boarding's dope. Not to get too bad. A good sensation would be boogie boarding naked. On a good day, I want to do that once before I die. When nobody's around. Like, it's not, I don't like skinny dipping, but I like the few times that I've done skinny dipping, it was awesome. And there was nothing sexual. Well, one time was with my girlfriend, and that was like way back in the day when I was young. But the other times, just swimming naked, that is crazy. That is some funny ass shit, but it's natural as hell. And in the ocean, I remember, long time ago, my brother had to take a dump, and he went out in the ocean and took a dump. We were like 10 and 11, and Because everybody goes out to the ocean and pees at the beach, right? Does everybody do? Am I weird by saying not every? You shouldn't always be a nasty motherfucker, but ocean water's just got it's. I think you're supposed to do that. It's salt. It burns it all off. You shouldn't do it in a pool. That's nasty. With all that, but chlorine kills just about everything. I don't pee in pools, and I try not to pee in showers. But oceans you're allowed to pee in. There's a lot of pee and poop on this episode. I'll try to back it away and bring it back to tunes. Some Jurassic 5. I know that sounds like I'm old or 90s. Like they were old. They were doing 80. They were 90s cats that were doing 80s cats. But they got some good tunes. The flows are sick. Some of their shit I'm just like in awe of. Like there's a Golden holding on to what's gold. That Charlie Tuna, he's got the coolest tone in rap. Like I don't think people realize it's just this baritone. It's just low. It's like bass. Boom. What is it about bass that's so dope? I know what it is. It's like the root, like not a little bit of meditation. You're trying to like sit almost to the point where you're like a potted plant, and then your ass is like the root of your essence, almost like but you want to sit in yourself so everything settles evenly, in essence. And I do think when I place my attention from my gut and my lower, like, I don't know, there's something when I put my attention right between my eyeballs, that's when I'm like thinking hard. And when I go lower, like if I'm trying to like feel it more, I guess you think with your brain and you feel with your gut. It's simple as that. Big ass jug of coffee, drinking it up for you. Dark roasted. This is from, they got a couple of these that are not like Whole Foods, but they're like a little bit above a bodega. They're called Union Market, and they got like 3 or 4 of them, but they have their own coffee. So this is their Union Market coffee that I'm drinking today, and it's a dark roasted blend, and it's good. And I got a raw lighter. I tell you, I love raw papers, and I love the spokesman. I mean, I'm not that type of dude. Like, he does like a Crazy Eddie type of shit, and it's brilliant. But he's very savvy. The president of Raw Papers is very internet savvy, very marketing savvy, very social media savvy. A lot of these cats. I'm not. I don't kill it on Twitter that much. Instagram, I'll put up a good picture, but a lot of it I'm just trying not. I want to put it out there for the fans and build up everything, but I just don't want to live and die by that. Or attach my happiness to any of that, I want to keep it to the sidecar of just maintenance of the bigger picture. And the bigger picture is the Cannabis Coffee Hour. And if you want to sponsor us, want me to talk about cannabis, it's growing. It's about to go legal nationally. You want to get behind the podcast, get at me at contact@RobCantrell. I run this whole thing myself. There's nothing. It's me and my laptop, and I'm knocking it out for you, and I'm having a blast doing it. And I'm learning. I've learned so much on editing, even how I consume coffee. I almost got a red eye today. That's when you get iced coffee and a shot of espresso. Now that's a bomb ass drink, but that's only it's good if you're hungover or you need a little extra juice. And then a cold brew. Between a red eye and a cold brew, there seems to be something a little bit different for me. Cold brew has almost a whole different other buzz going on. When it comes, it's more of a longer jack, whereas a shot of espresso is more of like a dab, whereas a cold brew is like a really good joint, but with like premium cannabis, like, not some bullshit, not some mediocres or upper grade. I'm talking about, when the dude breaks it out and it's like glowing. That's the type of bag I had last time. This is good. But my man hooked me up with the shit that he had lying around because I ran out and I can't wait till dispensaries is open in New York. Because just when you need it, you need it. And I hate chasing it down. It's a pain in the ass. And now everybody's not meeting up and stuff like that. So it takes a little finessing. But enough of that shit. I have been doing my stretches. I've been meditating. I've been drinking my shakes. I got sunburned as hell. I've been rocking some. I mean, I'm pretty good about putting suntan lotion and shit on, but I didn't one time. And but I do got some raw aloe, and I've been rocking it. But I can't wait to get out there. I saw Brooklyn Bowl. I might go see this concert. Is the Wailers are coming to the Brooklyn Bowl August? But that's what bums me out. Like, but August, like, I forget what it is. Check out Brooklyn Bowl and but the Wailers, which is Bob Marley's backing band, and they have a new album, and I got it on Spotify. There's a couple great joints on that thing, man. Yeah, I've been listening to like country, Grateful Dead. What hip hop? I have to say the Migos. I've been going back to the Migos, and especially White T-Shirt. I just love that song, man. Those guys flow together. It's not your typical trap rap. Like, it's like almost trap rap with old school, like Beastie. Like, it's three friends just having fun. And when that shit's bottled and packaged up, that's the vibe. So I can't wait. I might go see the Wailers. That's what I've been debating. I'm working on this music project. We got some shows coming up. I'm doing the Bell House with Joe Pera, so that will be fun. He has a great show on Adult Swim. I got a good relationship with that cat. He saw me open for Mitch Hedberg in Buffalo. He was at that show, he told me. And I had a good set, and I wore a karate suit. And it was a lot of fun. I'm just reminiscing about all these shows. It's nice to look. I will say maybe, I'm not a multimillionaire or anything, but I do have a good life. And man, I got some bomb-ass memories. I had some good times, as you did too. But it is about living in the moment. And I've been doing that and more or less like recognizing my ego. Like when it starts spinning and judging and I'm getting in fake arguments in my head. And like, I used to like that, but now I see it as just frivolous and a waste of time. 'Cause I can recognize that those, it's just like conceptual thinking. All that is the now. Conceptual thinking is, okay, this everything's like when you transfer it into words, it's not really the thing. It's more or less the information going to the other person's brain. What's real is it's hot outside. My ear is sweating. I am, 48, 49. I'm so old I can't even tell what age I am anymore. And I know in show business you shouldn't talk about it. But I just think going forward, being honest and being truthful, you can't bullshit people anymore. Nobody has time for bullshit lies. Like, authenticity, it just makes it easier when everybody's just on the truth page. And it's all out there. And that's what I like about this podcast, because I'm trying to normalize so I can go forward in life and enjoy cannabis legally, and not see it as some weird thing. And I think that's already being set in stone as we grow. At this point in New York, it's almost you look down on if you're smoking cigarettes. If you're breaking out herb, people are like, yeah, whatever. it's smelling weird here for a minute, and this guy's looking kind of nervous. But usually they'll run away and go get a burrito. What's the harm? Yeah, let me think. Any hip hop I've been cranking? I found myself on YouTube watching something that I was like, what the fuck am I watching? Oh, I do like Currency, this rapper Currency. Just how he approaches cannabis, and he puts out a ton of music. And I was watching like his first time in the studio with Lil Wayne and all this shit. he got famous early on in hip hop, and then had to like grind on. His ride is a little like mine in terms of rapping and comedy. Like he got a lot very early, and then had to figure it out, and then things kind of bottomed out, and he had to figure out and grow from himself. And he kind of went through that whole thing, and that's what I like. Currency, but he always smokes ill herb. And one time I was at the High Times office, and we hung out and did bong hits together with Danny Danko. And I think Jordan Rock was there at that time too. Who's another comic. Am I dropping names? I need to slow down on the name dropping. I need to check my ego. Oh, but those aren't big names. I mean, I shouldn't say that. They are legit. It was just interesting. But the only thing is just this moment. Oh, well, there might be future moments, hopefully. And there were old moments. Those would make the memories. But the right now is like what you need to focus on, I guess is what I am. Because when you're thinking about all that shit or any other thing, you're not really... Now I'm trying to, when I go outside, I'm just going to observe. I'm just going to observe. I'm not going to have opinion. I'm not going to judge. I'm just observing and just seeing how it plays out. And if I put positive thoughts in my mind, how will that play out? And that's kind of where my head's at with that. Oh, yeah. I don't know. I've been longing to get out on the road. I know I got some dates coming up. But yeah, COVID is firing back up, man. I don't want to tell everybody to get vaxxed, but everybody get fucking vaxxed, man. God, just get it done, man. What? Sometimes I'm like, are these guys just trying to fuck with everything? But I live in New York, so I saw it. And it could close down again. It's like people are walking on top of each other here. So, the floodgates opened up. I think it's going to fire back up again is what everybody's kind of feeling. But I don't know. I have 2 shows tomorrow. I'm doing 2 sets at the Eastville Comedy Club. If this comes out and you want... No, that's tomorrow, Saturday. So I'm excited about that. So I'm going to prepare for that. I'm going to get some new material. And I'm not going to think about COVID firing up. I'm just going to wear masks when I go inside, or when I have to perform, I guess I got to take my mask off, so I'll do that. And then I'll just, there's short sets. And so I'm just trying to figure it out, how to come at it again. But I do say that every time I go up, I'm doing something kind of funky and out there, and I'm into it, And that's kind of where I want to go tomorrow. So I'm excited about those. And I'm going to prepare for those mentally, physically. And then I'm going to give that audience 10 minutes of some pretty good shit. I never try to get too cocky with comedy because, man, that shit is organic. Like, you have to just like set it up and just see how it flips. And then when it starts flipping, it feels like you're winning at the blackjack table. That's what's cool. Never got into gambling, but there is a little rush there. I did get to work this Sahara. I'm going to drop another name, big one, Ralphie May. Ralphie May, I did 4 weeks in Vegas at the Sahara Hotel, the first venue the Beatles played in Vegas, the Sahara. And it's no longer, it was, it's like kind of down near Circus and all that. Like it was at the ass end of the strip, as Ralphie would say. But it was like one of the better ones of those. And it had these old school roots. But yeah, Ralphie May and I did 4 weeks at the Sahara Hotel. I did shows every night. And with Ant, Ralphie, and me. And Ralphie's passed away, and Ant who's this gay comic that was on the scene for about 5 years and then just like disappeared. And he was a super douche to me. And he's not even in the business anymore. So it's just weird. I look back on that whole, and then the casino I played. but then there's also new funky weird gigs that I'm doing in town. Like I've done square corny gigs. I've done super hip gigs. I've done, as a comic, you got to just do them all. And it helps your brain. The more different shit. That's what I've been watching these videos on this brain surgeon, man. This one was dope. Oh, I don't know. It's this YouTube about this brain surgeon, and he's just talking about the human brain and the things he's seen in brain surgery and how we haven't even tapped into the power of upstairs. I really think there's some concepts that we haven't even. That's why I think world peace is definitely there. It might take the aliens to show up. That's what I thought. And then, because usually if there's some shit going down, then everybody has to figure out, and we got to fuck up these aliens. And maybe that will bring the planet together. But I think the realization of how beautiful life is and how precious it is, maybe we could slowly work towards the non-bullshit way. And the non-bullshit way, I mean, I was just thinking about war and just like how dumb war, like we know war, it doesn't work. It's in my, countries or whatever, but usually it's just like a bunch of dead people. Everybody gets fucked up. The young people go do it. The guys that are ordering, this is what I thought, the guys that are ordering the young people to go die in the war, those dudes are going to probably die of heart attacks in the next 5 to 10 years. Because those are like look who ends up with all the power. It's all like the old dudes that fucking made it through it all. But if you make it through it all, you should be walking a little bit softer. And be a little bit more gentle. That's what I need to do, is just be a little. I have been. I think I'm being a little bit more aggressive and out there, and I'm blowing my voice out because I was really bummed out that I didn't do a podcast last week. Like I have to say, I went over a year without missing one, and I've only missed like 2 or 3 weeks. So I appreciate you guys sticking with me. We're gonna get some funky, fresh shit pumping out. I'm enjoying this Verde Natural. You gotta, your imprint. Because everything is, I don't want to leave too big of an imprint on the planet because it's so beautiful and dope, and other people get to, enjoy the ride, so to speak. And you want it to be there for our kids and the kids behind us, hopefully. But at the same time, I don't know. All I know is that this fan, I got a ceiling fan, it's just hitting just right. We're right about 49 minutes right now, so I think I'm going to wind it up and say I love you and thank you. And I'll see you on the next episode. We're going to have some dope musicians. I'm going to have some treats. Check out the Patreon. This episode I will not have a video of. This episode will be my trippy YouTube shit. I'm working on my YouTube. We got some great logos, got some great artwork. I just need to organize it all and push it forward for everybody. And, it's just the seed growing to the plant. You can't jump right up. It's one step at a time. And you got to stay alive, staying alive. That's pretty much the gig, man, because everything's trying to kill you. Life is trying to kill you, that's why I love meditation and stretching and health. But I was thinking about it. I don't want to get too much into it. A lot of that shit is, could get just run over by a truck the next day, and then got too obsessed. Don't want to be obsessed, but we do want to smoke some cest. So I think I'm going to finish up this podcast, have one more bowl, take a nap. I've been beating myself up, man. I've been driving, I've been writing, I've been performing. My voice is blown, But I want to make sure I wanted to get this out there and just say, check out So Many Roads by the Grateful Dead. Or check out that band Billy Strings on the Relics channel. I don't know. I've been leaning towards that. I'm trying to think. What was the one banger that I've been just pumping? In terms of, I listen to everything, but I always go back to a little good hip hop. Black Alicious, I've been getting back into that. And then, DC Rare Essence. If you want to work the walls, Pancake House, any of the Rare Essence, if you want to check out some funky funk, DC Go-Go. It doesn't get any funk. Maybe James Brown's funkier. James Brown, Parliament, DC Go-Go. That's the fucking trifecta of funk. So stay funky, everybody. Don't fake the funk. I love you. Peace. I'm out.